Hello and welcome on into the Gatemen Pregame Show here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Alongside me is Henrique, DaMour, and JD Raucci. I'm Cameron Stuart, bringing you a matchup tonight between the Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, the top two teams in the Western Division, as we enter the final week of the regular season. Before that, it was a spectacular victory for the Gatemen yesterday in convincing fashion, 11-2 at Eldridge Park over the Orleans Firebirds. But before we get into that offensive explosion, it really started with the pitching and the defense from the Gatemen last night.
It really did. It seemed like they settled down a lot after giving up going into a couple days ago 11 errors in 7 games, or committing that many errors, I should say. The Gatemen settled down defensively, just one error, but also a lot of stalwart defensive plays, some really awesome plays. Isaac Collins continues to look more and more comfortable in right field, got a couple of phenomenal reads on some tough balls. I mean, in right field, you get some balls that hook, right? These balls are not easy to track right off the bat sometimes, but then he made a very good play. Ryan Kreidler's looking more and more comfortable at short. And how can we not talk about Jeremy Idens? Took away a home run from an Orleans team that has the second most home runs in the entire Cape League, only behind Chatham. And Jeremy Idens denied them of another one. He was awesome in left field. But pitching-wise, it was another great day. Tyler Kaiser in his second start, first official start as he started a bullpen day, so technically that's a start. But Tyler Kaiser, after a tough first inning, he looked a lot more comfortable. He didn't get the high strikeout numbers that we were used to, but still a very good outing from Kaiser. He gave up just the 2 runs in the first inning, settled down from there, and afterwards Ryan Stoudemire with a 4-inning save, which technically they did get, even though they won by 9. Just one of those weird baseball statistical anomalies. But Stoudemire settled in. He was really good. He went 5 innings, 4 strikeouts. He was absolutely awesome. It was good to see him settle into a little bit of a longer relief role, as that was his longest outing of the year by far. Stoudemire looked really good, and they kept them comfortably ahead. I mean, the Gatemen, they front to back dominated, but after the first inning, it was good to see Kaiser settle down. It feels like sometimes we get, good Tyler, bad Tyler. Which one are we going to get today? And it seemed like Tyler Kaiser was headed for one of those outings where he imploded, but he settled in really nicely. It was good to see him adjust and get his and just not try to overpower hitters, because he tried to overpower hitters. He got a lot of hard hit balls off him, so he tried to induce weak contact instead of continue trying to overpower hitters, and he settled in really nicely, made some good adjustments. Really liked what I saw from him.
Yeah, its defense was spectacular yesterday, Henrique. The urban legend that will go down for that Jeremy Idens catch will forever live in Gateman lore, but also some great plays. Ryan Kreidler at shortstop and connecting with Lyle Lockhart at first base. Lockhart really got things started with the bat, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. How about a grand slam in the first inning for Lyle Lockhart? Hadn't had a home run since the YD doubleheader back in the early part of the season. The Gatemen as a team hadn't had a home run since July 13th going into yesterday. Then they hit 2. It seems like the extra base power is kind of here, and it's here to stay. Over the last couple of days, it started with Game 1 against Falmouth of that 3-game series on Wednesday out at Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. Couple of extra base hits in that game, including a triple from Lyle Lockhart, who still doesn't have a double this season, but has 2 triples and 2 home runs. A very weird little statistical tidbit there for you about Lyle Lockhart. But then the other guys really stepped up, and it was the guys that stepped up that we don't think of when we think of extra base power. 2 doubles from Oliver Dunn, a double from Skylar Hunter, a home run from Ryan Kreidler. Really, those 6, 7, 8, 9 guys really stepped up last night. Dunn was hitting in the 2-hole, but a guy that we don't expect too much out of. Half of his hits yesterday, he went 4 for 6, where he had 2 doubles. An absolutely fantastic offensive showing for the Gatemen, and that's something they really need to stick to and keep going with going forward, is that extra base power, not playing that station-to-station baseball and really driving in runs in bunches, because that's when this team is most effective. They get out to an early lead and they just don't relinquish it. The pitching staff, probably more than any other pitching staff I've seen on the Cape this season, feeds off the high run scoring, the high run output from the offense. They feed off that energy, and they are much, much better once things settle in. Tyler Kaiser, as you mentioned, Henrique, gave up 2 runs in the first inning, but then the Gatemen got 2 more back in the top of the second. He had a 4-run lead again. That's when he settled in. Ryan Stoudemire never had to worry about anything. He had a 5-6 run lead the entire way, and then the Gatemen continued to add on. The extra base power is here, and it seems like it's here to stay, and it's very impressive and very important for the Gatemen moving forward.
The offensive onslaught, a pleasant surprise for the Gatemen yesterday, and the only tough part about the day for Oliver Dunn, with a couple of doubles and a couple RBI, was that he didn't get our player of the game. No matter, he caught up with our Mariotas before the game today to talk about his banner night.
Thanks, guys. So, Oliver, you had a great game last night at Orleans, 4 for 6, 2 RBI, 2 doubles. What was working out there for you last night?
I was just seeing the ball well and getting good barrel on it. I was happy I was able to come through with guys on base, able to find some holes there and just help us win.
And how do you feel like you've progressed throughout the season?
Definitely didn't start the way I wanted, and so I kind of had to figure some things out, figure out what worked for me, and it's just been a process that I'm still working on. So
Have you been working with the coaches?
Absolutely. Every day I've been out here working with the coaches and just trying to figure things out, piece it together, get back to just being me. So
You're starting in tonight's game as well against Hyannis. We're tied for first with them. How big of a game is it tonight?
I think this is probably the game that's going to dictate first place, home field advantage for the playoffs. So we'll definitely bring the energy for it. It's the one we're excited for. So it should be a good one.
Great. Now time for some fun questions. Okay. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Wow, super strength, for sure.
That's a good one. You could hit home runs all day long.
Exactly.
What's your dream car?
A McLaren P1. It's a lot of money, though, so I don't know.
Maybe one day, Oliver.
Maybe one day.
What about your dream vacation?
Oh, wow. Anywhere with a beach and relaxing. So
that's good. Bahamas maybe or something?
Yeah, that'd work, I think.
Lastly, if you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
A cotton tree. I went to Cottonwood High School, so have to represent a little bit.
That's pretty original.
Yeah, you know.
All right, you've heard it here first. Oliver Dunn. Guys, back to you.
Mezzaluna is a family-run Italian restaurant celebrating 80 years in business. Located on Main Street in Buzzards Bay, Mezzaluna specializes in Italian cuisine, a lunch menu that's the best deal in town, and serves Cape Cod's famous prime rib every Wednesday and Saturday. Come enjoy the feast at Mezzaluna, the Italian family restaurant.
Welcome back into the Gatemen Pregame Show here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Alongside me, Henrique, DaMour, and JD Raucci. And we're taking a look at the pitching matchup today between the Wareham Gatemen and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. A couple of guys who are normally relievers for their respective teams. But starting with Hyannis, JD, it's the right-hander Brett Schultz out of Minnesota.
Yeah, a little Maple Grove, Minnesota matchup coming up for you in the bottom of the first inning when Schultz takes the mound against Isaac Collins, his high school teammate. Should be a fun little go back and forth for them in that first inning. But Schultz on the season, as you mentioned, a relief pitcher. He was a relief pitcher at Minnesota this season as well and was really, really great. A sub-3 ERA in over 20 appearances this season for a Golden Gophers team that actually hosted a regional in the NCAA tournament. So a very successful season for him at college this year. Not so much the same on the Cape. He's got a 5.17 ERA coming into today's game and has yet to make a start. So just like Zach Hart, who we'll hear about in a minute, will be making his first start of the season tonight for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And his last outing, they've kind of been stretching him out as the season has gone along, and they've lost a couple of pitchers over the season. They've been stretching him out and trying to put him in a situation where he can start his last outing, 4 innings and a win over the Falmouth Commodores. So there is something to look forward to in Brett Schultz. He's got good stuff. Fastball, split change, curveball for him today. That's what Isaac Collins told me. Said it's going to be a firm fastball, but it's not going to be something that moves. It's a pretty flat fastball. He's going to get it over at 92, 93 miles an hour. So look to the breaking pitches to be the important thing for Schultz in his outing today.
And to you, Henrique, a guy we've seen in a couple of different roles today, but today it's Zach Hart with the start. What should we expect from the right-hander?
Zach Hart in his first start, like you said, the rising senior out of Franklin Pierce, he's been awesome this year, and no two ways about it. He's obviously got the one blip on his radar was that meltdown against Falmouth, but other than that, he's been awesome. Those 2 runs were unearned. He has been awesome. Sub-2 ERA, high strikeout guys, only giving up 2 walks on the year, so you're going to expect a lot of control. You're going to expect guys to try to hit. He's going to make guys try to beat him. That's what I'm trying to say. He's kept the hits down as well. Hasn't really given up the long ball either. But Hart allegedly touched 95 at Hartford. Well, last time we saw him against YD. So he's a fireballer as well. He's got that hard fastball, a couple breaking pitches he likes to work with. He's been the Gatemen's best bullpen piece, and we'll see how long they stretch him out, because yesterday was not a bullpen day, right? It was 2 guys that normally work out of the bullpen, and Tyler Kaiser and Ryan Stoudemire. But today, we don't know necessarily if it's going to be a bullpen day. We think it is, so we'll see if Hart goes 2 innings, 5 innings. It's going to be interesting because Hart is a guy that's going to anchor down the bullpen going into the later half of this week, the last week of the season, but also in the playoffs. So we'll see if they stretch him out. Do they risk that, right? Because he's going to be one of the most, if not the most important bullpen piece for Wareham as they make their playoff push and playoff run in just a week here. But this should be a good one. Couple hard throwers against 2 teams that really, I feel like, don't like each other. This is a mini rivalry. Both teams have blown each other out at their respective parks. I mean, it has been a fun series against the Harbor Hawks, obviously the protested game, creating a little bit more drama between these 2 teams, and the fact that they've been going back and forth for first place all year. The Gatemen currently sit 2 points ahead and a half game ahead of the Harbor Hawks, but the Harbor Hawks have 1 more game to play. The Gatemen and Harbor Hawks have both clinched, so they're both, a little bit of smooth sailing here, but they're both jockeying for that 1 seed, trying to play the 4, take home field advantage through the rest of the way into the playoffs. This should be a heck of a game anchored by 2 guys that'll be really fun to watch on the bump.
So a big game today, like Henrique said, against a couple of starters who are making their first starts of the season for their respective teams. And the one for the Gatemen, Zach Hart, got to chat with our Mary Orders before the game.
Thanks, guys. So, Zach, you're getting your first start tonight for the Gatemen. How are you feeling about it?
Pretty good. I mean, I started at school, so it's nothing new to me. So I'm probably just going to go out there, try and do my thing, go right at guys, just stick to the game plan.
When you're coming out of the bullpen versus starting, do you approach the game any differently?
Yeah, I would say so, because starting takes more time. You have more time to kind of get in your head, and like more time to warm up and everything like that. In the bullpen, you kind of just got to go out there, throw a couple pitches, and then go out to the mound and pitch. So having more time to, I guess, prepare for the game is helpful to me, in my opinion. So I guess it kind of makes it easier.
Have you been working on anything specific with Coach Lawler over the past few weeks?
Just mechanical stuff, little things, tweaking stuff here and there. But he doesn't really, tell me too much stuff. You kind of just like talk about pitches and whatnot, but nothing too major, just small mechanical stuff.
What is your favorite pitch to throw and why?
I like my fastball just because I like to go right at guys. That's my whole demeanor on the mound is, get in the box and, see if you can hit it. So I would probably say my fastball because, I can usually locate it well and, I like to go right at guys. So
you've been here pretty much the whole summer with the Gatemen. Can you talk a little bit about the progression of the pitching staff? It's been changing quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. As a temp, you saw a lot of guys who got cut and everything. So it's nice to have like, one staff now. And, Jesus, a bug. Oh my God, a bug just flew into my hand. I'm sorry. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So, no, yeah, I like these guys a lot. So, I think we developed as a staff a lot through the year, me and a couple of the temp guys still here. So it's good. I like them a lot.
How do you feel like you've progressed personally over the summer?
Personally, working with Lawler, he's a great guy, pulling as much information out of him as I can, so working under him is great, he's a great coach and it's been real great all summer working with him.
Now time for some get to know you questions. What's your dream car?
My dream car? Jeep. Gotta go Wrangler, I would say, lift it up a little bit, put some big tires on it. So that would probably be my dream car.
Specific color?
Black, probably. I would say black.
If you don't end up playing baseball, what would be your dream job?
I don't know. I would probably be a coach. I mean, I don't know if that counts because it's still baseball, but I would like to be like a college coach at some point or something like that. So.
That counts. It counts.
Yeah, I would say it counts.
If you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
A tree? Oh, man, probably maple, let's say, just because maple is the hardwood, right? Like they use it for bats, I guess. So, I mean, I would probably say maple.
That's a good tree.
Yeah,
it's a good tree.
It's a good, strong tree.
Lastly, what's your dream vacation?
Ooh, I would say anywhere tropical, like the Bahamas or something like that. Usually my family goes on vacation together. We usually stay in New England or something like that. But one of these days, I'm gonna get down to the Bahamas or something like that. I love those places, man. So that probably might be my dream vacation.
Definitely, Zach. Thanks so much. After the break, we'll have more from the Gatemen pregame show.
Beat the heat and.
Thank you to Mary and to Zach Hart. About to finish things up here on the Gatemen pregame show, but we're going to go around and give our keys to the game. Henrique, what do the Gatemen need to do to have a stranglehold on first place today?
Well, like JD said, the pitching feeds off early offense. They do well in low leverage situations. We've talked about it all year, but I think this is going to be my key to the game because we saw that it worked with aplomb against Orleans. Lyle Lockhart Jr. started things off with a first inning grand slam. I don't know if we get that again. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But the point is, when the Gatemen get out into big leads early, they win these games almost without doubt, right? I mean, we haven't had a bullpen meltdown of epic proportions in a long time. We've only had it once I can think of against Falmouth. But other than that, the Gatemen, when they get offense going early, the extra base hits have been coming, more recently, as you've said, JD. So I think a lot of that combined with just constant production, the Gatemen have been a little more aggressive on the base paths. We've seen guys be willing to lay down bunts as well. Ryan Kryler with a good sac bunt yesterday, despite also homering in the game. I think it's good to see a little more diversified offense. So I think that early, Gatemen are in good shape.
JD, what say you? What do the Gatemen need to do today?
I think it lies on the arm of Zach Hart. He's a starter at Franklin Pierce, so this is not something he's not used to, usually out of the bullpen here on the Cape. But he's got the arm, he's got the innings in him to be able to go pretty long and go well. We need to see him command the strike zone early. Like we said, he throws hard, but surprisingly doesn't strike out a ton of guys. He's a ground ball, fly ball pitcher. He's got to keep the pitches down, especially the breaking ball. The fastball is always good for him, but the slider needs to stay down in the zone. Otherwise, this Hyannis team, a Hyannis team that's hitting .302 against the Gatemen this year is going to hurt him. I think that he needs to get into the 4th or 5th inning in this game if the Gatemen want to be successful. We saw it yesterday. We thought maybe Tyler Kaiser would start a bullpen day for the Gatemen, but then we saw Ryan Stoudemire come in and throw 4 innings. These guys have a lot of innings in their arms. It's just been the way the Gatemen have used them this season. I think that Zach Hart's one of the more versatile guys on the roster in terms of, and in the bullpen, in terms of being able to go a couple of innings at a time. So I really think if you get 5 solid innings out of him, then you back him up with a guy like Cody Carroll maybe, who again can get you 2 or 3 innings. The Gatemen should be in good shape and should be able to quell this Hyannis offense that at times has been absolutely stellar this season and that has the number 1 bat in the Cape League and Matthew Barefoot on the roster.
Let's see if the Gatemen can bring these keys to fruition on the field today. They sit in sole possession of first place in the West, but Hyannis right on their heels 2 points behind, so it will need to be a Gatemen victory or a tie to keep in that spot today. Catch that here on the Gatemen Baseball Network with these two guys, JD Raucci and Henrique DaMour, giving you the call. 6:30 first pitch from Spillane.